Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. BIC, Tinker, Dabble, Doodle, Try. Unlock the Power of the Unfocused Mind by Srini Pillai. Imagine your mind not as a machine to be controlled, but as a playground, alive, curious, and bursting with possibilities. For too long, we've been trained to chase focus, to suppress wandering thoughts, and to measure success by strict productivity. But what if everything we've been told about focus is upside down? What if the secret to creativity, innovation, and breakthroughs lies not in strict control, but in letting your mind wander, tinker, dabble, doodle, and try? Srini Pillai shatters the myth that distraction is your enemy. He reveals that your unfocused mind is a superpower, a living laboratory where ideas collide, patterns emerge, and insight bursts into being when you least expect it. From doodles on a napkin to side experiments in curiosity, from daydreams in the shower to playful exploration in your work, the mind thrives in these unstructured spaces. This book is a call to action. Stop fearing wandering thoughts. Stop seeing play as frivolous. Harness your mind's natural creativity. Turn failure into data, distraction into discovery, and idle moments into moments of genius. By learning to dance between focus and freedom, you unlock a life of innovation, connection, and growth. The message is simple, yet radical. Your mind doesn't need to be tamed. It needs to be unleashed. So tinker, dabble, doodle, try, and watch as the ordinary sparks extraordinary. Part 1. The Power of the Unfocused Mind. Imagine for a moment that your mind is not a linear machine designed to solve problems in neat, sequential steps, but a living, dynamic ecosystem, constantly brimming with sparks of insight. Fleeting ideas and seemingly random thoughts. Most of us have been trained to suppress these distractions, to chase laser-like focus, and to measure productivity by how straightly we move toward our goals. But Srini Pillai, in this groundbreaking book, turns that assumption on its head. He tells us something radical. The unfocused mind is not a liability. It is a superpower waiting to be harnessed. From the very first pages, Pillai draws us into the science behind the mind's creative engine. He introduces the concept that creativity is not always born from intense focus or disciplined effort. Often, it emerges from the mental spaces in between, the moments when we tinker, dabble, doodle, and try. These are not mere hobbies or wasteful diversions. They are neurological playgrounds where the brain forges novel connections, experiments with new possibilities, and incubates ideas that cannot be forced into existence by sheer willpower alone. Pillai shares fascinating research from neuroscience, showing that the brain's default mode network, the part that activates when we are daydreaming, doodling, or letting our minds wander, is a powerhouse for insight and innovation. It is in this unfocused state that we allow our experiences, memories, and knowledge to collide in unexpected ways, giving birth to ideas that can change everything. He challenges the cultural obsession with hyperfocus, arguing that the relentless pursuit of productivity can actually stifle creativity. The author then takes us on a journey through real-world examples, from inventors to artists to scientists, showing how some of the greatest breakthroughs occurred not through rigid planning, but through playful exploration. Pillai doesn't just stop at anecdotes. He explains the psychological principles behind why tinkering works. When we allow ourselves to explore without immediate pressure for results, the brain's reward pathways engage differently, enhancing motivation and opening doors to innovation. But this is not just theoretical. Pillai is practical too. He introduces early techniques for cultivating the unfocused mind, small experiments in curiosity, structured play, and the deliberate use of doodling and tangential thinking. These are not time wasters. They are exercises in cognitive flexibility, designed to rewire the brain for creativity and problem-solving in ways that traditional methods cannot touch. He emphasizes that the goal is not to escape focus entirely, but to alternate between focused and unfocused states, leveraging the synergy between discipline and play. Part 1 concludes with a powerful, almost revolutionary insight. By embracing the unfocused mind, we reclaim a vital part of our humanity, the ability to imagine, to explore, and to create without boundaries. Pillay frames it beautifully. The mind, when allowed to wander, is not lost, it is discovering. Each day becomes a laboratory, each idle moment a seed of potential, waiting for the right conditions to bloom. Part 2, Harnessing the Unfocused Mind. If Part 1 awakened us to the untapped potential of our wandering thoughts, Part 2 is where the magic becomes practical. Srini Pillay shifts from the theory of creativity to its application, showing us not just why the unfocused mind matters, but how to deliberately cultivate it to spark innovation, solve problems, and even accelerate personal growth. Pillay begins with a simple but revolutionary idea. Creativity is a skill, not a mysterious gift. And like any skill, it can be trained. He introduces 4 key behaviors that transform idle mental activity into a powerhouse of insight. Tinkering, dabbling, doodling, and trying. These are not frivolous activities. They are deliberate cognitive strategies. 1. Tinkering. Here Pillay explains how playing with ideas without a rigid goal leads to discovery. When we tinker, experimenting with new ways of thinking or combining existing knowledge, the brain enters a state of curiosity-driven learning, where risk is low, but innovation is high. He emphasizes that tinkering is a mindset, small, consistent adjustments, exploring possibilities without fear of failure. Dabbling. Dabbling is about breadth over depth. By exposing ourselves to diverse ideas, disciplines, and experiences, the brain forms unexpected connections. Pillay calls this cognitive cross-pollination. For example, a software engineer might take up painting, or a musician might study physics, not to master the field, but to stimulate novel neural pathways that enhance creativity in their primary domain. Doodling. Often dismissed as childlike or trivial, doodling is revealed here as a gateway to visual thinking and memory integration. Pillay cites studies showing that sketching ideas, even imperfectly, helps the brain organize thoughts, see patterns, and generate solutions faster than verbal thinking alone. Doodling is a form of externalized play, a bridge between the abstract and the tangible. Trying. Finally, he focuses on action. Creativity is not just ideation. It requires experimentation. Trying involves applying your tinkerings and doodles to real-world situations, testing assumptions, and embracing failure as feedback. Pillay insists that failure in this context is not defeat. It is raw data for growth. Each attempt, no matter how small, trains the brain to iterate, adapt, and evolve ideas. Pillay also explores the neurological science behind these strategies. He explains how alternating between focused and unfocused states, what he calls cognitive switching, enhances problem solving. Focused attention strengthens our ability to analyze, plan, and execute, while unfocused attention promotes creativity, flexibility, and insight. By learning to navigate between these states, we unlock the full potential of the mind, turning distraction into a strategic advantage. The author peppers Part 2 with vivid examples. Inventors who let ideas marinate in the background. Scientists who gained breakthroughs while walking or daydreaming. and entrepreneurs who solved complex problems by allowing playful experimentation. Each story reinforces the idea that the act of engaging with your mind in a low-pressure, playful way leads to extraordinary outcomes. To make it actionable, Pillay provides exercises. Setting aside deliberate tinker time each day, free from deadlines or outcomes. Exploring unrelated fields to expand cognitive connections. Doodling ideas visually before verbalizing them. Testing mini experiments in daily life and reflecting on results. By the end of Part 2, it becomes clear that creativity is not a mystical gift reserved for a few. It is a trainable, repeatable process, accessible to anyone willing to embrace play, curiosity, and experimentation. Pillay empowers readers with the mindset shift that transforms mental wandering from a source of guilt into a wellspring of insight. Part 3. Integrating the unfocused mind into life. If Part 1 awakened us to the hidden power of the unfocused mind, and Part 2 taught us how to harness it, Part 3 is where theory transforms into transformational practice. Srini Pillay now shows us how to weave tinkering, dabbling, doodling, and trying into every corner of our lives, turning the unfocused mind into a source of ongoing growth, innovation, and fulfillment. Pillay begins by addressing a common fear. Many people worry that letting the mind wander is lazy or unproductive. He flips this notion on its head. The unfocused mind is not a distraction from success. It is a catalyst for it. He explains that by integrating playful mental strategies into work, relationships, and personal pursuits, we open ourselves to new solutions and opportunities that the rigidly focused mind would miss. In work, he illustrates how leaders and innovators use cognitive wandering to solve complex problems. Instead of forcing linear thinking, they encourage brainstorming, experimentation, and idea collisions. He shares stories of companies where employees are given playtime to explore side projects or tinker with unconventional solutions, and how these experiments often produce breakthrough innovations. In personal growth, Pillay emphasizes self-discovery. Doodling, trying new hobbies, or exploring interests outside one's comfort zone doesn't just make life richer. It strengthens the brain's ability to form new connections and adapt to change. He calls this cognitive elasticity, the ability to pivot, improvise, and embrace life's uncertainty with creativity rather than anxiety. In relationships, he reveals a surprising truth. The unfocused mind can enhance empathy and emotional intelligence. By allowing our minds to wander, we gain perspective, imagine others' experiences, and discover new ways to connect. Tinkering and playful experimentation in communication, trying different ways of expressing ourselves or understanding others, deepens connection and fosters emotional insight. Part 3 also explores the science of incubation, the process by which insights often emerge after a period of subconscious processing. Pillay explains that stepping away from a problem, allowing your mind to wander, or engaging in unrelated activities like walking, cooking, or doodling can trigger breakthroughs that intense effort alone cannot achieve. He calls this letting the mind do its invisible work. To make these insights actionable, Pillay introduces a framework for daily life. Micro moments of play, brief intervals to explore, doodle, or tinker, even amid a busy schedule. Alternating focus, consciously shifting between deep focus and unfocused exploration to maximize creative output. Experimentation mindset, approaching every challenge as a mini lab for ideas without fear of failure. Integration into goals, using doodles, side projects, and playful experiments to advance personal and professional objectives. He closes part 3 with a powerful reminder. Creativity is not a destination. It is a way of living. By embracing the unfocused mind, we reclaim joy, curiosity, and innovation in all aspects of life. We learn to see problems as opportunities, failure as data, and wandering thoughts as the seeds of genius. The greatest lesson Srini Pillai leaves us with is this: creativity, innovation, and personal growth are not the products of relentless focus. They are the gifts of curiosity, play, and fearless experimentation. When you tinker, dabble, doodle, and try, you give your mind permission to wander, to explore, and to connect ideas in ways that rigid thinking never could. This is not just about making art, inventing, or solving problems. It's about how you live your life. Every idle moment, every seemingly random thought, every playful experiment is a seed of possibility waiting to grow. The unfocused mind is not a weakness. It is your hidden superpower. Those who embrace it don't just react to the world. They shape it. They see opportunities where others see obstacles, solutions where others see confusion, and possibilities where others see limits. So, the takeaway is clear and empowering. Stop fighting distraction, stop fearing curiosity, and stop undervaluing play. Your ideas, your breakthroughs, your next aha moment are already inside you, waiting for you to give them space. Tinker boldly, dabble widely, doodle freely, try fearlessly, and in doing so, you unlock not just creativity, but a life of extraordinary possibility. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries.